Good morning and welcome to JP's Morning Brief. Hey, good morning everyone. This is James Pierce. I hope everyone's doing fine. Cannot believe it's already 6:30. Feel like I just woke up. I've been up for a few hours, just doing stuff around the house and getting the podcast ready and stuff, and man, watching some news and wow, I can't believe that. But about the news, there was two big things that has already happened this morning, and we'll get to that in just a few minutes. Take care of business first. If you're watching, please click the follow button and give us a like. That'd be that thumbs up button, and don't be afraid to chat. But I will interact as much as I can. I'll talk to y'all. If I can, I'll give you a quick blurb on there. Just remember, chat goes away at the end of the podcast. So if like, oh great, I can't believe I said that, it's going to go away. Hopefully, no one screenshots them, which I doubt if they do or not. I don't. So this is a safe spot for us conservatives and stuff. So we will start with, I just want to get my stuff going here. All right. So thanks for joining me this morning. I got to do my America 250 before I get carried away here. Bear with me because this is always good stuff to know. You know, I do this mainly with the JP8 report. That's Monday through Friday at noon also. But I like to continue doing this. I got multiple things I could talk about. This one carried over from yesterday because everything that happened with Savannah Guthrie, Arizona case that's going on with trying to find her mom. And there's an update this morning about it also. So we'll get to that in a couple minutes. But I only got 30 minutes. And because this is all I allocate for this in the morning time. So let's go ahead and get started. This is the letter from General Washington to Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Reed. This would have been yesterday in 1776. It's quite long, but I'll read it as fast as I can. Let's get the pages ready first. All right, so my dear sir, your obliging favors of the 28th and the 1st are now before me, and claim my particular thanks for the polite attention you pay to my wishes in an early and regular communication of what is passing in your quarter. If, my dear sir, you conceive that I took anything wrong or amiss that I was conveying in any of your former letters, you are really mistaken. I only meant to convince you that nothing would give me more real satisfaction than to know the sentiments that are entertained of me by the public, whether they be favorable or otherwise, and urge as a reason that the man who wished to steer clear of shells and rocks must know that they lay, I know, but to declare it, unless to a friend, it may be an argument of vanity to the integrity of my own heart. I am the unhappy predicament I stand in. I know the bearing of leadership is really stressful, okay? I know that there's much expected of me. I know that without men, without arms, without ammunition, without anything fixed for the accommodation of a soldier, that little is to be done, and which is mortifying. I know that I cannot stand justified in the world without exposing my own weakness and injury, the cause by declaring my wants, which I am determined not to do further than avoidable necessity brings every man acquainted with them. If under these disadvantages I am able to keep above water, as it were, in the esteem of mankind, I shall feel myself happy. But if from the unknown, particularly of my circumstances, I suffer in the opinion of the world, I shall not think you to take my freedom of a friend if you conceal the reflections that may be cast upon my conduct. My own situation feels so irksome to me at times that I did not consult the public good more than my own tranquility. I should long ere this to have put in the cast of the die, but far from my having an army of 20,000 men well armed, I would have been here less than one half of it, including sick, furloughed, and on command, and neither armed and clothed as they should be. In short, my situation has been such that I've been obliged to use art to conceal it from my own officers. All right, we'll leave it at that one because this is about 4 pages long. All right, and I have another one to read, but that's for this afternoon, and that would be from Ben Franklin. All right, so yeah, I'll read that this afternoon. All right, so we have the Dalmatians, the smash burgers right here in Copper's Cove. They do hot dogs also. They're in the west side of the cove behind bushes, and they're open for lunch at 11 to 2 and for dinner from 5:30 to 7 unless they sell out. All right, give them a try. They're on Highway 190 on the west side of Cove behind bushes. All right, so meanwhile, back at the ranch. All right, so 2 things that came out. Last night, as I was sleeping, one is they if you're in the same boat as me, you went to bed and like they detained someone. Yay! All right, I'm talking about in Arizona, in Tucson, right? And when we woke up this morning, oh no, they released him, but he didn't do anything. It was a mistaken identity. So here we go again, right? So before we go any further, we'll put this up and talk to y'all just for a second. Take a look at the black and white pictures and see if you recognize this guy or any of the stuff he has on, right? There's a $50,000 reward out for him right now, looking for concerning the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. All right. Now, I'm not going to act like I am a detective or anything. I'm not. But this lady needs to be found. Her daughters are going berserk. Her son is going berserk. They just want some closure. But yeah, they said last night they went all the way down to Rio Rica, Arizona, which is about 5 miles from Nogales. I've been to Nogales. Matter of fact, it's called the Port of Nogales. Matter of fact, but this guy lives about 5 miles from Mexico. But it was a case of mistaken identity. So hopefully the pot is stirring and the more stuff will erupt today. We'll see. Maybe I'll have something to announce at noon when I do the next edition of the JPA report. The next thing is that, hold on. Okay, man, I'm losing it. Okay, so the next thing is, this was breaking news just a few minutes ago. And where did I put? Oh, there it is. Yeah, we can do that. All right. So in El Paso, matter of fact, that's about 125 miles from where everything happened last night in Arizona. In El Paso, the FAA halted all flights in and out of El Paso International Airport for 10 days. for special security reasons. I have no idea what that means. All I know is I need something to drink and a cough drop. So this came out just a little while ago. 5:12 a.m. to be exact. If I can grasp the paper. The Federal Aviation Administration has grounded all flights to and from El Paso International Airport in Texas for the next 10 days, the agency announced Wednesday. All flights to and from El Paso are grounded, including commercial, cargo, and general aviation. The restriction is effective February 10th, 11:30 p.m. Mountain Time, which was last night, 12:30 a.m. Central, to February 20th at 11:30 p.m. The FAA cited special security reasons for the closure, but did not elaborate. The no-fly restriction of airspace over El Paso as well as Santa Teresa, New Mexico. The FAA has classified the airspace as national defense airspace, with the notification saying deadly force could be used on craft violating the airspace if it deemed to. El Paso Airport issued a statement confirming the closure on Wednesday. Travelers should contact the airlines to get the most up-to-date flight status information. In a statement, is said in a statement, the announcement comes days after multiple airlines suspended flights to Cuba on Monday following warnings that the island is running low on jet fuel. That don't make sense. The warnings cite President Trump's tariff threats on oil shipments. That don't make sense either. At least 3 Canadian carriers, including the country's largest airline, Air Canada. Okay, so this is crazy. Who wrote this? It looks like they combined two. Okay, well, okay, so whoever wrote this for Fox Business needs to be fired because, okay, they combined 2 stories on this bad boy. So what I heard on this, and I'll get more on this afternoon. But so last night, airspace was closed in El Paso and in New Mexico, the Santa Teresa, New Mexico, for national security reasons. But they didn't elaborate what it was for. And at the same time, what they said on Fox News also was that the airspace in Mexico in Ciudad Juarez was not closed. So anything that's going on is affecting on the north side of the Rio Grande River, but not the south side of the Rio Grande River. And nobody's saying what it is. They're not saying if the boss is going there or the VP is going there, but why would you close the entire airspace for that long period of time, right? And an ongoing military operation in El Paso and Fort Bliss? That don't make sense. So there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. This, like I said, this went in effect 6 hours ago. So was it a hack on a government system through the FAA? They're just not saying. And I don't know. I just heard this not more than an hour ago. It came across Fox News. They were stunned. They had no idea what's going on. If someone is watching my podcast right now and you know, put it in the chat so everybody else that's watching will know also. It's just weird that something like that came up out of nowhere, right? But I mean, to close off, I mean, you know how many people live in El Paso? Just upwards close to 1 million people, I believe. That maybe closer to 500,000 or 600,000 people. But you're telling people in that 10-mile radius of El Paso that your airport is closed and you can't fly in. Have you ever driven to El Paso, to West Texas, from San Antonio, which is the closest airport, or maybe Midland? That is a long drive. Or from Tucson, Arizona, which is another 100 and something miles away. You are going out of your way to catch airplane. So something is happening and they're just not telling us what is going on. So stay tuned for that. All right. So you can see how fast this thing is going this morning already. The president also is going to there it is. Okay. The president, I think it's going to happen today or so. It's going to happen today. President Trump's administration is poised to walk back Obama-era greenhouse gas finding that serves as a linchpin for justifying climate regulations across the country today. The 2009 endangerment finding, that thing's 15 years old, identifies 6 greenhouse gases that the Obama administration said pose a threat to public health and welfare. That finding, that harm finding, was then used to justify sweeping climate regulations from the EPA, such as raising fuel economy and limiting power plant emissions, the Wall Street Journal reported Monday. Oh, this is serious stuff here. The EPA, Lee Zeldin, he's the administrator, hailed the move as cutting through government red tape in an interview with the Wall Street Journal. This amounts to the largest act of deregulation in the history of the United States, Zeldin said. The journal reports that the final rule will be made public later this week and is set to eliminate requirements to measure, report, certify, and comply with the federal greenhouse gas emission standards for motor vehicles. The rollback does not yet affect power plants for oil and gas facilities. More energy to drive human flourishing, Doug Burgum told the outlet. Energy abundance is the thing that we have to focus on, not regulating certain forms of energy output. Trump is reportedly expected to hold an event at the White House today with Zeldin and Chris Wright. He's the energy secretary. They will announce a new initiative by the Department of War to purchase electricity from coal-powered plants. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin will meet with Trump at the White House on Wednesday. The Washington Coal Club has also set to name Trump the undisputed champion of coal. During the event, according to the journal, Trump is consistently critical of global warming claims, climate regulation throughout both his terms in office, famously withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement when he first took office in 2017. And then the more recently used a wall of winter storms across the U.S. as a talking point for climate insurrectionists. And then, so this is going to all start happening today, which is good because a lot of these regulations just price people out of homes and cars and anything. Because when you raise the price of energy, you raise the price of everything that's involved with energy, whether it be food or fuel, vehicles, paper products, everything. All right. So that's going to be pretty cool. Remember, he's on a pace of I think the number is either 10 or 60 regulations rescinded to one regulation being inputted or created. All right. What are we doing on time? We're at 6:50. I got two more stories from Jasmine Crockett, but I'll get to those on the rollover to the JP8 report. We'll go over a couple things on the Texas scorecard. If I can get back to it. Where's my mouse at? There it is. Okay, the Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton, is running for United States Senate. And he's suing. Wow, we're talking about climate change. Okay, cool. So he's suing a company for illegally disposing wind turbine blades. You know, those huge 50-foot things you see swirling in the air all over Texas, right? Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton filed suit against a recycling company and other affiliates for unauthorized disposal of industrial solid waste after it was discovered that the company was illegally disposing of wind turbine parts in Sweetwater. That's a small town in Texas. Global Fiberglass Solutions of Texas, LLC, whose primary place of business is located in Kirkland, Washington. I think that's where they make Boeing at. Was hired by multiple companies to break down and recycle turbine blades and parts. According to Paxton's suit, the company failed to properly dispose of the materials and have created a stockpile of over 3,000 turbine parts. Illegal disposal of wind turbines hurts our land and will never be permitted under my watch, said Paxton. Just because the radical left calls something green industry does not give the company a free pass to harm Texas's countryside, break our laws, and leave Texas to deal with the negative impacts. The company originally came under scrutiny in 2018 when the TCEQ, that's Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, received an anonymous complaint. The agency investigated the company 2 locations in Sweetwater. The investigation revealed that Global LLC engaged in recycling activities without notifying TCEQ. Investigators also concluded that Global LLC speculatively accumulated wind turbine blades and associated industrial solid waste at the facilities. Investigators also discovered that the company was not meeting the annual 75% of materials recycled threshold to be exempt from needing a permit to store solid waste. TCEQ informed Global LLC that it could not meet the required, if it could not meet the required threshold, it would need to obtain a permit to store industrial solid waste. And according to the lawsuit, upon TCEQ returning to the facility in 2021 for a follow-up, both were desolate and locked up. The agency reached out to Global Director of Plant Development Paul Brush, who was informed that the facility has been closed since 2020. And Brush also confirmed that Global had acquired more turbine parts than were being stored at both facilities. And then in 2022, TCEQ entered into an agreement with Global, which included requirements that no additional solid waste be stored without proper permits, that those permits be secured within a year's time, and written proof of compliance be submitted. Investigators followed up in March 2025. They discovered that although both facilities were still abandoned, additional waste had accumulated since the agency's last visit at one of the locations. What, it magically appeared? Neither facility has acquired the necessary permitting to store solid waste according to the 2022 agreement. And then the Paxton is requesting a temporary permanent injunction against the defendants. So in the cause of green energy, you want to destroy the environment of Texas for your said windmills that kill birds and everything else around them too. There was a video that just came out about an eagle being disintegrated in midair because of the moving wind turbine blade struck it. Unbelievable. Boy, I hope he takes these guys to the bank. All right. So that one is gone. And then I have to clarify on one deal I read about the Texas scorecard from yesterday. The state GOP chair, Abraham George, who's running for re-election, suggested that in 2028 we do more redistricting in Texas. And I had put out that more redistricting on the U.S. House, which I think would be cool anyway. But that's not what he meant. I reread the article, and it was clarified to me last night that he is recommending that we do state House and state Senate redistricting for 2028 to cover for the next 4 years. That's what he was coming to. All right, so I apologize if I misled anybody on that. All right, 6:56. So don't forget, early vote starts Tuesday, and then the March 3rd primary is rapidly approaching. You're going to see a hot and heavy campaign ads on TV. Get ready for that remote to speed through it. And then 26th of May, the runoff if there needs to be. All right. So do not forget that here in Gatesville area, we have the Lincoln Reagan dinner on the 21st of October. We still have a few tickets available. So do not be afraid to try to purchase tickets. You can buy your tickets through the QR code or through the show notes that I have. There's a link on there that says the Lincoln Reagan dinner link. They're only $60 a piece or $100 for a couple, and there are some tables. So if you want to buy a table for a group of your friends or your family or your company, buy it, have fun, and get to listen to Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick speak. All right, and that's in Gatesville at the Texas Station Event Center. If you had never been there, you're missing out. This guy, Dean Smith, that owns the facility, also has what he does is he decorates it in fluorescent signs he buys around the state. You know, gas station signs and direction signs, restaurant signs that are being decommissioned. He goes, buys them, and then puts them on the walls and hangs them from the ceiling in his facility. And when it lights up, it's beautiful. I mean, it is something out of yesteryear. It is absolutely gorgeous. I remember Governor Abbott, he was here last year. He was astounded about how that looked, and it was really cool. So get your tickets. You still got some time to get some tickets. All right, what time we got here? It is 6:50, almost 6:59. So these are my socials since I didn't get to show them to you yesterday morning. You can find me on X at James Pierce Jr., at Facebook at James A. Pierce Jr., on ScrewTube. You can find me at the JPA Report 67, and True Social at James A. Pierce, and you can write me an email to jpa report@gmail.com. All right, so we are almost out of here till 7 o'clock, till 12 o'clock Central. Thank you for the few people that are watching me this morning. I know it's a little bit early. We got Chad Prather that I'm competing against now, which is cool. He's a really great guy. So this is James Pierce with the JPA Report. I'll catch you on the flip side at 12. I'm out. I'm gonna push this over to my end slide again, and I'm gonna ray this over to Vince. All right. So I'll see y'all at noon.